What's going on, guys? National Master James Canty III here with Chess.com, and today we have Game of the Day with titled Tuesday. With the white pieces, we have Hikaru Nakamura, and with the black pieces, we have Liam Froelich. Let's get right into it. Nakamura plays knight f3, very flexible, something like a ready. We don't know what he's going to play yet, so let's see what happens. d5, and then here we go. Flexibility is very important. b3 with the Larsen system, or the Nimzovich Larsen attack. It's a very, very strong opening and actually very underrated, guys. If you don't know what to do with the black pieces, I've had many positions where I just didn't know what to do and I had to study it afterwards. So b3 is very, very interesting. Let's see what happens here. Bishop to f5 and then g3. So he's actually going to fianchetto both of the bishops here, which is actually very nice. He controls both of the diagonals here and just has time to do, honestly, whatever he wants. We're going to sit back and wait a little bit. e6, and then beautiful move here. Instead of bishop to g2 or bishop b2, like we would see in these moves, he actually played knight to h4, stating that, hey, you locked your bishop outside of the pawn chain. Bishops are slightly better than knights. All grandmasters will tell you this. And now with that being said, we're going to capture this bishop because it's just out here. And actually, the bishop pair is always an advantage. And if we're able to take this, we're also able to ruin black's pawn structure as well. So knight h4, kind of like in a London system kind of way, with the colors reversed. Actually, sometimes with black, you will see knight h5 hitting the bishop on f4, trying to take this bishop in London system fashion. So knight h4, then we have bishop to g4 here, trying to provoke a weakness. And he also just wants to back up this way, maybe take towards the file. h3, bishop to h5, and instead of g4, he just says bishop b2. Let's stay flexible. He doesn't know what I'm going to do yet. We kind of made some moves that just threw him off, like knight h4 and g3, stuff that he didn't expect right out of the bat here. And bishop to b2 is a good move. Knight to d7, doing some development here, and then d3, just getting some type of stake in the center here. e4 is coming, followed by, of course, knight to d2 maybe first, and e4 in a good fashion, especially after we neutralize this attack right here. So knight g to f6, and then we have g4. There it is on the board, guys. Very aggressive kind of chess here. Very aggressive kind of chess. Reminds you of a King's Indian, but with the reverse colors here. And you can't castle to this side of the board, guys. You probably should not castle to this side of the board just because of the fact that the pawns are loose here. And you push them right in front of the king, and they're supposed to be saving your king, or give you some safety and shelter while you're castled. Bishop to g6 and knight to d2. Then after bishop to d6, we have e3, guys. And if you ever heard of the hippo, which is usually played with the black pieces, you can also play it with white, but it usually goes like this. You put your pawns only on the third rank. It will be the sixth rank for black, but you put your bishops on b2 and g2. The knights go to d2 and usually e2. This one's a little bit far out, but kind of the same situation where you actually just kind of sit back and wait. It's more of a counter punching, counter attacking. You swing, I duck, I swing back, I hit kind of thing. It happens all the time. A lot of counter attacking chances when you play this kind of opening, but you need to know what you're doing. Do not try this at home unless you know what you're doing. After e3, queen to e7, and here we go, a3. With the hippopotamus type setup here, guys, if you see h3, e3, d3, b3, a3, everything's on a third rank besides the g-pawn here, and the knight's not on e2, it's on h4, which is a little bit better here because we can't capture this bishop here, and it's just kind of a flexible position just to see what black does. e5, and then bishop to g2 by Hikaru, and then c6. I'm just going to say, hey, this bishop is very strong. We don't want it to be that strong, so we're going to make sure we make this a brick wall in front of it. Queen to e2. I'm not saying where we're going to castle yet. Most likely queenside, if we even castle. Let's see what happens. Castle queenside, and here we go. b4, an aggressive move here. Now, guys, if you've played the modern before, if you played the hippopotamus before, this is one of the themes where you actually push this pawn, bring the knight over, and launch a king or queenside attack, depending on what's going on the board here. So we may not even see a castle from Hikaru. Let's see what happens. Rook h to e8, centralizing all of the pieces, guys. It looks like nothing's wrong here, honestly. Just a good position. Kind of can't push forward yet, so we're just trying to figure out what to do. But after rook h to e8, we have c4 from Hikaru. He says, you know what, I'm not even going to castle. I'm just going to go for it. He's going to attack the king here. Now, when you castle on opposite sides, whoever gets to the king first is going to win. But we're actually not even castled here. So we're just going straight for the king. What an all-out attack here. King to b8, just trying to get a little bit safe here. And here comes the reinforcements. We're bringing our friends for the end. Knight b3 and then e4 here. This is a way to break up this strong center here, or what's going on. This is attack. This is attack. If you take this way, I might take this way. And if you take this way, then I'll take this way. So it's kind of it's a very strong move, to be honest. And actually, you have to respond to it somehow. So instead of d takes c4, Here we go. Knight takes g6 first. Get rid of this monster bishop that was on this diagonal. We now have the bishops here. And after knight takes, we have h6, h takes g6, and then c5, attacking the bishop, closing the file, and watch the follow-up here, guys. Can you name the next move? What would you do in this position as white if you were Hikaru Nakamura? What would you do? White to move. Here we go. The move is actually d4. Lock it up. Lock it up. Whoever controls the pawn breaks controls the game. And in this point, who controls the pawn break? What's a pawn break, you ask? A pawn break is actually when you can break up something. So look at this. This is a perfect example. F3 is one and B5 is another way to actually break up this. Now, if black doesn't have any, maybe B6, but this is not realistic. And you actually don't want to do this with this king here. More realistically would be maybe F5 here, but definitely nothing for black. White controls the game at the pace that they want it to, and your pawn structure tells you where you should play. So realistically, black should be playing on the queen side or the king side, but it doesn't look like there's a lot there. And white should be playing on the queen side, where it looks like there's a lot there. So after d4, there's g5 on the board. And then we have a4. He's going for it. He's trying to crush him. Let's see if it works. Knight to f8. Then we have b5. He's opening up the king side, and black is just sitting around trying to defend and figure out what to do with life at this point. Knight to g6. B takes c6. Hey, the front door is wide open. We are going to bring our friends right inside. Queen a6 and knight h4. Hitting the bishop here. It is attacked, so we do need to do something about it. So he just backs it up. Bishop to f1. Knight f3. This knight made how many moves, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4 moves just to get a check in. We go king d1, and what's your next move? We actually need to use more pieces. Remember, chess is a team game. You can't just use a knight or just one piece to try to win. It does happen sometimes, but you are playing half man, half everything else. Hikaru Nakamura. Knight f3, it's going to be extremely hard to get this knight off of here, but you don't have any attack as black here. It's very, very scary here, and black is on the defense. Queen to d7, trying to defend the light squares because knight h4, rook b1, all kind of things are going to be deadly here. Bishop c3, time to open the file, even put a knight maybe on a5 or bishop on a5. King to a8 and then king to c2. Interesting move here. Maybe activating the rook, also keeping the knight defended, and even bringing the king just slightly closer. Okay, rook to b8 and then bishop to e2. He's just trying to develop, but also keep the rooks connected at the same time. Rook to b7, we're going to double on the file. Why not? And then rook h to b1, here it goes. Rook e to b8, and here we go, guys. Can you find the next move? When you look at this kind of position, this position is placed in front of you. What do you do? How do you proceed as white? And the move here, guys, is bishop b5. Whoa, and that's not even the best part of today. Bishop to b5. This is going to get absolutely crazy at this point. The threat is, of course, bishop takes c6. How do you defend it? Let's look at the options. Rook b6, that's just not a move. And then knight e5, that's not a move either. So we only have really one option here, which is actually taking on b5, which he does here. So he takes b5, but here we go. c6, thank you so much. I'm going to win an exchange here if you do nothing else. But he actually plays rook to b6, and he says, aha, if you take my queen, I take yours. White to move, guys. What do you do in this position? Hikaru Nakamura lifted up his mouse and clicked. Queen takes a7. Oh my goodness. Wow. Bizarre. Queen sacrifice. Tal is here today. Queen takes a7. King takes, a takes b5. Rook a6. And rook takes a6. Checkmate. Have a nice day. Hikaru Nakamura has done it again here, especially with one of his pet openings, the Larson system, which you guys can start playing today. It's an unorthodox opening that people don't study as much, so you do have a big advantage there. That was absolutely brilliant here. Actually, right here was the stunning moment. Bishop to b5, such a hard move to find. And then the follow-up here. The follow-up is even the hardest. c6, rook b6, and you're like, oh, what do I do? You look for the forcing moves first, checks and captures. Queen takes a7, takes, and checkmate. Have a good day. Wow, that was awesome here. Man, what a game, and what an exciting analysis here today as well, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm National Master James Canty III here with Chess.com, and this was Game of the Day. And I'll see you guys on the next video.